What's going on, y'all? So listen.
What's going on, you guys? So I know I didn't give you guys I didn't give y'all a video from Movie Corner last week, and y'all already know that was a hectic week. I had people over, so I couldn't get one out. But I know I said I was gonna do Cinnamon off of Tubi. I haven't watched that. That's gonna be next. That's literally gonna be next. But I have watched earlier today this movie called Identity, and I was actually scrolling on Hulu while I was at work trying to figure out something to watch so I can get through my day. I know I ain't the only one that be watching stuff or listening to stuff so that we can make the day go faster while we at work. And I came across Identity, and I haven't seen Identity in a long time. And I suggest if you haven't seen it, it is a good like psychological thriller slash horror. I don't know if it's really a horror movie. It depends on how you look at it. Because yes, there are people getting taken out, okay, and but it's also, like I said, a psychological thriller. Um, it is one of those movies where I feel as though it's very much underrated. I feel like it needs to get a little bit more love than it does, and I feel like people need to talk about it a little bit more. It came out in 2003, okay, and it has Ray Liotta. He was in it. John Cusack. What's her name? Clea Duvall. Clea Duvall was up in that movie Broke Down Palace. I'm pretty sure that was her up in Broke Down Palace. I keep on talking about that. That thing keep on coming up, and I need to go watch it. I need to go watch Broke Down Palace all over again because it's been playing in my mind because certain situations have been coming up, and we've been talking about it, and we can equate it to it. But that's one. And also Amanda Peet. She was in it too. Listen, it's one of those, and also, oh boy, that played. What was Romeo's friend off of Steve Hightower, the Steve Harvey show, and the white boy Bullethead? That's him. He played in here too. He was Clea Duvall's husband. But we get into this movie, and what makes me like this movie so much, because again, like I said, it's like it'll make you think to a certain extent. It's not one of those movies where you have to put your thinking cap on and you really have to pay attention. It's one of those movies where you're watching it and you're trying to see what's going on. You think that you're following what's going on and you think that you know what's happening, and then by the time the end comes, you're like, hold up, I ain't see that coming. Each and every time I see this movie, because I've seen it many times, I just be like, girl, I can't believe that thing happened. Like, it has one of those moments, okay? So basically, we're just gonna talk about it a little bit, and I suggest y'all really do watch it. It's a quick watch. I mean, it's a good watch, okay? It's. I say y'all can watch it as a movie night, all right? Turn the lights out, get your popcorns, and pay attention, okay? Get under the covers and pay attention a little bit. If you like psychological thrillers, if you like semi-horrors with psychological thriller aspects of suspense, this is what it is. And I love the way that it built up. And it's one of those movies that has two things going on at the same time. It got multiple things going on. So you got one particular story happening and you have another particular story happening. But then you realize that both of those stories are in conjunction with each other. You don't realize that until towards the end. You know what I'm saying? So you thinking like we're dealing with two different things, and come to find out, oh no, they're the same. So when we get into the movie, we see this detective, not a detective, this doctor played by Alfred Molina. Okay, his name is Doctor. I'm gonna be looking at my phone to get the character's name for real, for real. Sometimes I just be watching stuff. I don't care what their names are. We're gonna call him Dr. Malik. Okay. We're gonna just call him Doctor. Doctor get a phone call. He is basically representing this murderer. Okay, that's, to put it lightly, that's just what he is. He's a killer. And basically he took out like a whole bunch of people at this hotel complex. Not a hotel complex, but apartment complex, right? And his name is Malcolm. He is about to be sentenced to die. Okay, he's on death row, and it is literally a few hours before his execution. Okay, and they get pulled in. Him, the DA, all of that stuff. They get called in because his doctor, his therapist, his psychiatrist, whatever, has basically found some journals. Okay, found some journals that he was writing, and they realized that he has mental issues. We already know that, but it goes a little bit deeper. He has multiple personality disorder, right? And they're trying to say that Malcolm himself, who was born Malcolm and given the name Malcolm, the actual person, he wasn't the one who committed these crimes. It was one of his personalities that took over his body, and that person was the one that did the crime. And basically, he's trying to get it so that the people, the board, that is going to have to make judge and all of them that's going to make this decision whether or not to stay his execution or to keep it going, to take him off of, death row and just give him, life in prison without parole or life in a psychiatric hospital without parole. They trying to, show that, he has this other person. And the doctor is trying to make him bring that person out. You know what I'm saying? So that they can save his life in a sense. I'm sitting here like, you want to save this man's life, but this man did all this other stuff. Like, why are we fighting? When it gets to stuff like this, it irks me a little bit, and it kind of like confuses me. And I know we don't want to lose our humanity, and that's why it's a debate about the death penalty and things of that sort. Some people are for it, some people aren't. But when you have somebody that does something to the point of mass murder or, just taking out a whole bunch of people, like I said, or hurting a whole bunch of people to the point where, it's just like unthinkable things that they do, and people be literally fighting for them to not have the death penalty, but to just stay in prison for life. I don't know. Like, sometimes I be like, why are we fighting for them not to? Okay, I mean, go ahead and take them out. Like, they wasting us. I don't know. They didn't already committed atrocity. Just take them out. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird because sometimes I be like, and then sometimes I be like, oh. But anyway, we get into that. That's the basis. That's one particular part of the movie. That's one story. And so while he's doing all of the stuff that he's doing, the doctor is talking to him, trying to get him to have that other personalities to come out so that they can see what's going on. And at one point, you can tell that he's not paying attention. He keeps mumbling the same thing over and over again. Like, he'll go into a certain type of trance and, saying something that he made up and all of that. You got all that going on. Meanwhile, while he's over there, you have a situation going on in another place about 10 strangers that have to come together, and it's very much giving because they wind up all being at this motel, okay, this random motel in the city, and it's like a deserted city, a small city, one of those, just off the skirts. It's giving you very much Chainsaw Massacre, and when I say like that, I mean like to the fact that it's open road, it's like nothing around, but then you got this one motel that's right here, and you're just like, oh, where's the next? It's no city, it's like just openness, you know what I'm saying? And so they all just so happened to meet up there, and it was given very much Bates Motel. If you ever saw Psycho, that is what it's giving. This movie is kind of like a play on Psycho to a certain extent, but instead of it being Norman Bates, it's Malcolm Rivers, okay? And, I suggest y'all watch Psycho too. That's one of Alfred Hitchcock's better movies, okay? Also watch The Birds. That's one of my favorites as well. That really is. Girl, them birds came through. That's one of my fears, to get attacked by a bird. Oh, Lord. All right. But you have Caroline Suzanne. She's a Hollywood actress, and she's being chauffeured by Ed. And he is played by John Cusack. Joan Cusack is his sister. And if y'all know who Joan Cusack, if you ever seen Addams Family Values, Miss Debbie, that's her, okay? Or if you've seen Shameless, the first couple of seasons, she was on there as well. And then you get Lou, who is a newlywed, and that's he's married to Jenny, okay? And then you have Robert, who is a convicted murderer, and you also have Samuel, who is also with Robert. You know, they came together. Now that's a plot twist in itself as well. And then you have Paris, who is basically like a little, I don't want to call her a hoe, but she a little trick, okay? She trick off on people, get their money, play them and all that stuff, and she rolls out with their money and stuff like that. Then you get Timmy, who is the son, the stepson to George York, and the son to Alex York. Basically, you have Caroline, this actress. She's one of those people that's very much annoying, and as soon as she comes onto the screen, they make her character so annoying that you want her gone already. And it's annoying in the fact where she thinks she's more than what she is, okay? She's one of those people that, you know, she's been in the business for a minute, and she probably even thought that she was more than she was when she was in the business in her heyday. And she probably really wasn't that big either, but she thinks so. She's trying to get to, I guess, a gig or whatever. And basically, it's a whole rainstorm that's going on. It's a storm that's happening that's washing out the roads, and she's being chauffeured by Ed. Ed is a former police officer. We find this out later. And he basically quit the job because it was causing him to get sick. It was causing him stress, looking at all of the stuff that he had to look at and to hold that in. So he just went on ahead, did the chauffeuring business. And she's so pretentious. She in the back seat talking about how she don't want to do this role because she feel like, do y'all not know who I am? I deserve better than this and all this stuff. And, you know, she is on a cellular phone and the battery goes out. So she's like, oh my God, my battery is dead. I have an extra battery in my purse. It's up there. Could you reach back here and get the battery and give it to me? And so Ed, having to do what she says, try to reach back there and to give her the battery. And since he had to do that, he had to take his eyes off the road. Now it's already raining. It's really, really raining, like really, really hard. You hear how it is right now? 10 times worse because it's raining out here at this moment. We're about to have, like they said, a severe thunderstorm, so who knows. Anyway, next thing you know, boom, he hit somebody. I said, oh my God, what did he hit? What did he hit? He winds up hitting Alex, okay? Alice is married to George. Alice, I don't know if she got a divorce from her ex-husband or I don't even know if they was married, but the father of her son, Timmy, we found out that basically once he was born, probably like 8 months old or whatever, the daddy just left him. Timmy looked like a good 5, 6 years old. He looked like probably 6, you know what I'm saying? 6 or 7. He doesn't really talk, and he hasn't been talking since the daddy left. And so, you know, that's the issue. We saw them in their story. They're playing up in the car. They're doing a little road trip. I don't know where they were going at this moment. But you see that the dad or the stepdad, George, he's trying to, you know, liven things up, make sure Timmy is okay, make sure Alice is okay. And I think they get a flat at one point, and they have to pull over to the side of the road. And George winds up getting out the car, checking on a flat, trying to fix it. And then Alice gets out the car, I guess, to see if everything's okay. And, you know, Timmy's looking out the window at both of them like, what y'all doing? And is we all good, you know, because it's raining. He could be scared. We don't know. And so because of that, Alice maternal instincts is coming in trying to calm him down and reassure him without saying those words that everything is okay by, you know, doing a little of this or whatever, making sure that he sees her. And so in turns, because this is an open road, we don't see nobody out, it's a storm, who else would be out on this road like this? She's walking backwards and she's doing all of this trying to like entertain Timmy like I'm okay, and next thing you know, boom, she gets hit. So Ed, who was driving the car, the limo with the actress in there, Caroline, he winds up hitting Alice, all right? And that's how that whole family, you get Timmy, you get Alice, you get George, And then you get Caroline and Ed. That's how those five get into the hotel, right? They get to this motel that is ran by this guy named Larry. And so once that happens, you know, he hurry up and try to get them a room. They trying to hurry up in because the father, he's in shock. George is in shock, you know, and they trying to stop the bleeding because she is hurt. Alice is hurt so bad. They trying to find some needle and thread to sew up her womb or whatever so they could stop some of the bleeding and, you know, try to get everything on tack. Next thing you know, we see the story with what is her name? Paris. Mind you, her name is Paris, Nevada. Okay. And so keep that in mind. She's driving because she literally just tricked off on somebody and stole their money. Some older dude, she had him in his bucket naked birthday suit, literally having a birthday cake on top of him, singing happy birthday and all this stuff. And next thing you know, we done seen her in her car. She done droomed off with his money and everything. And now she's just trying to get away. Because of the storm, she winds up at the motel. Now, Larry has a problem with her because as soon as she comes in, he can tell that, you know, I think he had she came across Ed because she came across everything that was going on. So that's how all of them got to the motel. And at this point, Larry looking at Paris, and I'm sitting here like, why are we judging? And I, if you look at Paris, you couldn't even tell that, you know, in my honest opinion, you couldn't tell that she was out here tricking off or, as you say, being a streetwalker or, you know, a little prostitute or whatever. I don't think it was that deep. I think she just played men and got their money, and that's just what it was. I don't even think she had sex with him, you know? And so he was automatically judging her. And at one point, he was like, we don't serve your kind here, and we don't rent by the hour. I said, oh my God, judgmental much? Now, first of all, he would have got beat up, and it bothered me because he said a lot of things like this to her throughout the movies at certain points, and none of the men that was there, none of them checked him. Okay, none of them told him, don't be saying no mess like that. That's just messed up. You don't talk to no woman like that regardless of what you think. You don't even know her. None of them did that. And I feel like that was kind of messed up, but also a couple of them were preoccupied with trying to keep Alice alive. And so they wind up controlling the bleeding or whatever, sewing up her neck. And then we get this this couple that had came in there because at one point, Ed tried to use their car, and this is Lou and Jenny, tried to use them to take them to another town because, you know, to get some help. But the roads was flooded both ways, so they had to end up at the motel. And so at this point, you know, no, I don't like small towns like this where everything is so spaced out. Emergency people can't come. They're 30 miles away. They're 30 miles away. Are you serious? And now they really can't come because the roads are flooded. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So now they got to stay there until the morning. And hopefully Alice would, you know, make it through the morning and they can drive off and everybody can go about their day. And it pissed me off because, of course, Caroline, the actress, is so goddamn into herself. She didn't even want Ed to stop and get up out the car to check what was going on. And because he's a good person, I guess, and because he's also got that cop mentality, he got out. He said, no, I have to check on her. You know what I'm saying? And so now she in her feelings about that. I said, girl, whatever it is that you're trying to get, it's over and done with. Don't nobody care about you. They don't even know you. Because when they was up in the motel, one of them was like, hey, ain't you that actress, that old actress or whatever they used to be on, and couldn't even bring it up. You know, don't even know your name, don't even know what you used to be on or nothing like that. I said, that's embarrassing. That should tell you all that you need to know right there. All right. And so at that moment, we got Jenny and Lou. Their story is basically they just got married. They're newlyweds. They went to Las Vegas, went on ahead and got married, and it was one of those spur of the moment type of situations. And you could tell like the relationship is not good, and it's one of those they should have never got married, and something had to been going on for them to go ahead and get married, right? And so we also get a cop car, an undercover cop car that pulls up, we get Ray Liotta comes out and he plays Samuel, okay? And he's supposed to be this detective, and he's saying that he has a prisoner. They can't get in contact with anybody. The roads are flooded, so they're gonna shack up there for the night. So him and the prisoner, which his name, damn, what was his name? Robert. They go into a room, okay? And at this point, I was like, all right, I'm thinking everything cool. That everybody's trying to get aware of everybody, trying to go ahead and get their footing because everybody's going to be hunkered down for the night because the rain is not letting up. Miss Caroline take her ass outside trying to find a signal for her phone, all right, because she's trying to contact her agent. She's trying to make sure that they know that she is on her way, but you know what's going on, and she's trying to get a bar, right? So she's going to wherever the signal is trying to pick up at, and it leads her into an alleyway or whatever. And next thing you know, we see something come up on her, something or someone, because of the way that she gets this start, like, oh, who are you, and all this stuff. And next thing you know, she gets this shocked look on her face, and we don't see Caroline no more. The next time we see Caroline, her head is rolling around in the freaking dryer. They was like, girl, what? What is going on? Why are we hearing this thump, 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 thump? Because the head is rolling around in the dryer, girl. I said, not the dryer. So now everybody is on, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm multitasking. Everybody is on high alert, okay? Because they don't know who did it. They don't know where the rest of her body is at. And they're just like, oh my goodness. So we all need to just stay in this one particular place because we don't know what's happening. And then they realize that the prisoner, the convicted murderer, Robert, is gone. So they think that he is the one that is doing this. Because then the next person that winds up dying is, Alice. Alice was fine at one point. She started to wake up. She started speaking. Oh, excuse me. She started speaking to Timmy, speaking to George, and she looked like she was trying to get her color back. We see her, she's talking, and then the next thing we see her eyes is just open on the bed. She's not moving, nothing. You can tell that she passed away. And so we're like, oh my goodness, what happened? Okay. And then at this point, the next person to go, they trying to figure out where the freak the prisoner is at, right? And so they're rushing and they're running and they're trying to check it out. You got Ed. This is when he let it knows that, he is a former cop because he kind of took over. Mind you, we already supposed to have a cop there named, Samuel. And he was like, oh, so you act like you was a cop or something. He said, yeah, I was, okay? And so they just investigating, trying to figure out where he's at. And so when Samuel finds out that Ed was a former cop, instead of being like, oh, okay, cool, you kind of see him tense up like, oh, shit. And I'm like, what's that about? All right, like, I thought y'all would be on the same page. Meanwhile, they try to find that prisoner, and when he is outside, he's just running. And he see this place, right? So he's out in the middle of nowhere land, and he thinking that he running to, freedom and getting away from the motel or whatever. Baby, why he wound up right back there? He wound up right back at the motel, girl. I said, you went back to, what was the point? What was the point? You exerted yourself. You tried to escape for what? They wind up finding him, strapping him to a chair in the room. They told Larry ass to watch him. Larry, all of a sudden, you can be so big and bad talking all this mess and nastiness to Miss Paris about her profession that you assume that she is, but you can't sit there and watch this man because you scared of this convicted fella, even though he tied up on the chair and all that stuff. Girl, they go out and they do their other stuff, and they try to get to know each other a little bit. We hear the little issues that's going on between Lou and Jenny, right? Lou and Jenny and this is before they found the prisoner, okay? Because they think that Jenny, what's his name, Robert killed Lou, because Lou was the next person to go. It was the actress, Miss Caroline. Alice either died first or Lou died first, second. You know what I'm saying? Either way, those was the first three to go, because Jenny is so like hyper. She's so hysterical at this point. She's so on edge, and she's like, "Oh my God, I need to get up out of here. We cannot stay up in this motel. People are dying left and right. We need to go. We need to go." And at this point, they're like, Louis, like, we can't go. Okay, it's like nowhere for us to go at this moment. The roads are washed out. You need to calm down. Plus, you're my wife. You're carrying my baby. And, you know, I have a say of what you do. She said, you ain't got no say of what's in my body, what I do. He said, I got to say of what you do in your body. And she was like, excuse me, no. If I want to get up out of here, I'm going to get up out of here. Somehow they get back up in the room, right? And they're arguing back and forth. And then she was like, well, I ain't pregnant. And I said, wait a minute. So the whole reason why they went to Vegas was to get married, have a shotgun wedding, because she told him she was pregnant, and she basically lied and said that she was pregnant, and I guess to keep him, because according to her, one of their friends or somebody that was around told her that they saw him with somebody else, and he was like, that bitch is a liar, okay? So you basically played me and trapped me to get married to you, and you ain't even got my baby. And this is what I mean when I say they shouldn't even be married, or shouldn't even be together at this point. She too on edge. So I said, girl, you need to take something for that. You need to calm it down, because this ain't helping the situation. She running away from him, and I felt like it was her that was just like making it worse than what it was, and she you know, locking herself up in the bathroom, and then he's like, open the door. And I'm like, listen, if she don't want to talk to you, just leave it, okay? But then it comes, all of a sudden, he goes from, because we only can hear what's going on, we don't see, because we're seeing it from her view, because she's in the bathroom, the camera is in the bathroom, and we don't know what's going on outside the opposite door, because all we hear is him trying to open up the door, banging on the door for her to open up the door because he wants to talk. And then it goes from banging on the door because he wants to talk to banging on the door because somebody is out after him. All right? And she realizes that it changes, and so she runs out and jumps out the window of the bathroom to get help. And they go up in there. They see somebody walk past, but they can't find them. And they see him in the corner, cut up, like his throat cut and everything. I said, oh my goodness, they done killed him. And so now they're really on high alert. And that's when they went on ahead and they found the prisoner, right? They had him tied up. And also they realized that something just ain't right. Why are them all together? What is really going on? We need to figure this out, because it's not making sense. And basically, they figure out that all of them have the same birthdays. I think they were all Tauruses or something. May birthdays, right? And they probably was born in different years, but they all have the same birthdays, okay? And then we also find out that the next person to go, Larry had left out. They come back into the room and find the killer, or I should say the prisoner, who was strapped to the chair, handcuffed to the chair. He can't do nothing. Baby, he got a baseball bat stuck down his throat. So now they think that Larry did it. They up there, you know, coming for him. Come to find out, they bumped into the freezer, opened up the freezer, and another body come out. Mind you, this is a body that been there for a while. Come to find out, Larry is not the real hotel manager, or I should say motel manager. That was the motel manager whose body fell out the freezer. He said he was driving, he needed to pull over. He came over and he came into the motel and he saw the manager face down in his food. And obviously he had passed away, so instead of just calling the police, because obviously he got something on him, that's why he didn't want to call the police. He just wound up taking over. He put the body up in the freezer and he took over, okay? And I said, that is really stupid. So you up here judging Paris, but you got some stuff behind you as well. I said, typical, okay? Moving on. And so they're still trying to figure this stuff out, like what is going on. And what is happening? Like, I just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And so, um, you get them figuring out certain things. Like, they start piecing pieces together. They found out that their names, because they was looking at their IDs. I don't know who was looking at the IDs, but somehow the IDs came together, and they realized the names. Okay, the actress name is Caroline Suzanne. Lou name is Lou, and his last name is Louisiana. Louisiana, if you put it all together. Robert, the convicted felon that just got killed with the baseball bat through his throat, his name is Robert, and his last name is Maine, the state of Maine, okay? And then you got the Yorks, New York, George York, Alice York, and Timmy York, okay? And then you have Larry, his last name is Washington. Paris' last name is Nevada, okay? Samuel, who is the cop, his name is Rhodes, okay? And it was just like, oh my God. So they're all named after states that they're from, or just different states. It's just really funny. And I'm sitting here like, now how is that? This don't make no sense. What is really going on? Because I literally thought that these people were just random. So obviously these people have some type of connection. And then of course, Jenny had said something about an Indian burial ground. I said, oh Lord, they always do an Indian burial ground, which to be quite honest, we are literally, do y'all realize that basically, practically everywhere that we step, it most likely could be a burial ground from people ancestors back in the day. Like people back in the day, you know what I'm saying? And so I was like, oh no, we not doing this. We not doing this. And I'm like, what is the connection? Like, how did y'all come together and y'all all have the same birthdays and you're named after states, okay? You're named after states. And I'm like, what is this? And at this point, we see that another person get killed. George winds up dying because he has a freak out. He's trying to get the hell up out of there. He gets into the car, and either the car crashes because I think he was trying to avoid something, and he winds up crashing the car, thinking a sign or something, and he winds up down in the car. That's when they realize that the killer, whoever it is or whoever's doing this, they are leaving behind a hotel key. So, and it's going in order. So the first body had a key number 1, which was found with Caroline. Then you had the key number 2 with Alice, or number 3, and then you had one with Jenny, with Lou, and then so forth and so forth and so forth. And next thing you know, Jenny gets killed. Okay, and then the only people that we have that's still alive is Samuel and Ed and Paris. Come to find out, Ed figures out that Samuel is not a police officer. I think because Paris had went into the car because they think they was looking for the radio or whatever, looking for some help or whatever. And she winds up going through the glove department and sees his file. So yes, he was supposed to be there with Robert, but he is also a convicted felon that was supposed to be being transported as well. He wound up killing the person that was transporting him, the cop that was transporting him, and by sticking something that he had, I think he had like the gate or whatever, something, he had a little shank or whatever, and he wound up sticking it through the back seat and basically putting it in his spine. So when we saw at one point he got out the car, it was a hole in his shirt, and he put his jacket on top of it. That's because he has the police officer's, or the detective, I should say. He has the detective clothes on. And so she didn't figure that out. She about to tell Ed. Samuel realizes that she knows. And so now they're going back and forth with each other, okay? You know, trying to take each other out. And it gets to a point where they have this standoff, and they both have guns. Because at this point, Larry gets killed as well. Larry, I think, got burnt up. All right, he got burnt up. I can't remember what happened to Jenny, but she winds up dying as well. It was brutal. And you got Samuel and Ed, the ex-cop and the convict. They're going back and forth at each other. They both pull out the guns, and they hold on to each other, and you hear pops. Okay, come to find out, they both pulled the trigger, and they both just wound up dying. Right, Samuel, the convicted felon, he winds up going ahead and died right off the way, off right away, I should say. Ed, he winds up falling to the floor, and he's repeating this quote, this little mantra or whatever that he keeps on repeating and everything, and the only people that's left, because he winds up eventually dying, the only people that's left is little Timmy and Paris. She winds up taking little Timmy with her, and they wind up going to a little she winds up getting a little place and watching after Timmy. She's out there planting oranges and stuff like that, and next thing you know, as she's digging under the tree, mind you, this is all removed from the motel. We are done with that. She escaped it with her life. Everything is okay. So she thought, she's starting over. She's not doing what she was doing before. She got her paper up, and she got a little house in the little country. She under her little orange tree, and she's digging, doing a little bit of gardening. And as she's got the hole, right, she's digging in the thing, in the dirt. And what does she find? She finds the motel key with the last number on. I think it said 10. And she looking like, what the fuck? I thought this was over with. Next thing you know, y'all see little Timmy come over there with the hoe or whatever, and he just, bam. I said, wait a minute. What? I said, so the little boy was the one that was doing this the whole time? Because then they do a replay, okay? Basically showing that every time somebody died, it was a little boy that was doing something. I said basically the little boy killed his mama by suffocating her, okay, because the mama was okay. She would have survived that. They stopped the bleeding. She was getting her color back and all that stuff, but he put a pillow over her, okay? I'm pretty sure of that. And he basically, they trying to make it seem like he was doing all of this. And I said, now how does this little boy killing people and putting baseballs, like he got that type of strength? He's young, he's small. I don't get it. Baby, that's when they flash back to Malcolm, the prisoner that's at the board that's about to be executed in a few hours. This was all in his head. I said, what? So this whole motel situation wasn't real. It was a whole fantasy or things that was going on in his head, and those were different people, different personalities that he was playing, that he had. And I said, oh my goodness. So he played that whole thing out in front of them. And I said, wow, that is crazy. So now they're seeing, like, because the judge was adamant about his decision to put him to death. And so he's seeing now that maybe we don't want to execute him, put him in a psychiatric hospital, whatever. So I guess they stayed his execution. I hope I'm saying it right. That means that they took it off the plate, right? And the doctor is like, I'll transport him to where he needs to go. And girl, come to find out, that's when we realized that it was all fake, and it was all Malcolm that was doing all of this stuff. And then I said, now, Mr. Doctor, if he can put all this out here and have us thinking that, people was out here killing people, and come to find out he was actually the one, I want you to be careful. Girl, the end of the episode, he wound up killing the doctor in the van, and we don't know what happened. All we saw is that van shaking like this or whatever, and then it stops as it pours over and veers off the road, because he done killed the doctor and everybody else that was up in there. I said, these personalities, girl, the movie was good. I hope I explained it well, but I feel as though if y'all really looking for something that's going to be like, oh my goodness, I really want y'all to watch it, okay? It's on Hulu. If you have Hulu, it's on Hulu for free, okay? I'm pretty sure you probably can find it on YouTube as well. You probably can find it on Tubi. Tubi got some regular movies on there as well. But again, like next time, and I probably will come back. I don't know. I'm not going to put that in stone. But the next movie will be Cinnamon, okay? I'm definitely gonna put that out there, because that's one that everybody has been talking about or wanted me to talk about. So that's gonna be the next movie up. And again, thank y'all for watching Ashley's Movie Corner. I need to get an intro for Ashley's Movie Corner. Okay, I really do. I like doing these, y'all, because I just like talking about stuff that I be watching, and then I can't wait to get into the ones like Cinnamon or whatever that y'all are ready to watch, and I can give my honest opinion. So I can be like, girl, what? I really am. I cannot wait. But anyway, I will see you guys later. Enjoy your weekend. Peace.